Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name is Cody Bills. Today is Monday the 17th and we had the markets a bit mixed here today. We got a number of things on the agenda, so let's turn right over to the grain hedge trading platform and see where we closed off the day. Corn trading down 1/2 cent, soybeans up 1/4 penny, and wheat in Chicago here trading down 7 1/4 cents on the day. Let's take a quick look at the December corn chart. This is a daily chart, each bar representing 1 day worth of price activity. And notice that resistance level that I had talked about last week, right around that 375, seems to continue to hold. It seems like it's a very difficult price level for corn to move above. It was a previous low back there in July, and it seems to be offering up considerable resistance here without any significant amount of bullish news coming onto the market here for corn. When you look at soybeans, you'll notice that was a 930 resistance level from that previous low back in July, and that seems to be offering up some resistance. We've been unable to get above that since we pierced through that low back on Wednesday last week following the USDA report. Let's talk a little bit about the Pro-Farmer Crop Tour. They will be traveling throughout the Midwest this week. It's going to be going through the 20th. The 20th, they're going to meet in Rochester, Minnesota, and we're going to get more results in regards to what these scouts have seen throughout the Midwest. The scouts are going to be basically divided into two groups. You have the Western group. They're going to be traveling through Sioux Falls, Grand Island, Nebraska City, Spencer, and then finally on to Rochester. The Eastern group is going to be in Columbus, Fishers, Bloomington, Iowa City, and then Rochester on the 20th. So we're going to be paying attention to what they have to say each day, kind of summarizing what their scouts have seen in the field. We'll talk about that on Tuesday morning in our morning comments. Now, keep in mind that NOPA crush numbers came out today, and this really didn't seem to help soybeans. This was a relatively bullish number. It showed that there was 145.227 million bushels crushed in the month of July. That was up from analyst expectations, which expected to only see 141.5 million bushels there crushed. But unfortunately, that positive news was really didn't translate into positive price action. We were trading a little bit higher in the morning part of the session, but it seemed like we just drifted lower, and this was unable to kickstart any sort of bullish price action. So that was a little bit disappointing and really shows how relatively weak soybeans are out there when it comes to price discovery. When you look at soy oil, you'll notice that 1.624 billion pounds was announced in this crush report. So that's how much soy oil is on stock. That was up from the 1.592 billion pounds there that analysts were expecting. So that wasn't very positive to see. It seems like there's an ample amount of soy oil, a little above what analysts were expecting. We also had export inspections out this morning, and you'll notice that wheat and soybeans beat analyst expectations while corn fell within analyst expectations. Corn, we saw 890,000 metric tons inspected for export. For wheat, we saw 560,000 metric tons inspected for export. That was above the high side analyst expectations, which ranged up to 425,000 metric tons. And for soybeans, we saw 375,000 metric tons inspected for export, above the 75,000 to 200,000 metric ton range of expectation. So that was good to see. When you look at corn conditions, those will be released out at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Expectations are for a slight decline in crop ratings there for corn and for soybeans. There's been a little bit of dryness throughout the Midwest. But when you look at the weather going forward, you notice this week should be providing additional moisture through the Midwest. So any dry areas should be relieved here. As you can see, very widespread precipitation across the Midwest there in this weather map. Keep in mind it's also going to be cooler than normal conditions. When you look out to the 6 to 10 day outlook, we'll have a little bit more moisture throughout the Midwest. In the 8 to 14 day outlook, it looks like about average precipitation, not above nor below average here in that extended day forecast. Other than that, guys, that wraps up today's show. If you have any questions about what we talked about today, please give the office a call. The number is 877-472-4607. We really believe over here at Grain Hedge that the fundamental news that the USDA provided last week is a big game changer. It really, it makes it really puts a lot of pressure on producers, because that was a very, very bullish report, and it almost seems like we're consolidating here. And there's a lot of attention right now on the Pro Farmer Crop Tour, seeing if there's any sort of confirmation that the yields were as good as what the USDA provided in their WASDE report last week. We're going to be paying very close attention to that crop tour to see if there is any sort of confirmation that the yields are as good as the USDA is saying, because I really believe that I mean, we had a sharp reaction, but we didn't get that kind of follow through, and I think there's a little bit of disbelief out there that production really is as good as the USDA is saying. So that Pro Farmer Crop Tour is going to provide us a little bit of feet on the street, eyes to be able to view what is actually happening on the ground here, because we can view we have a perspective from Planalytics, which provides us satellite imagery, and that perspective is a little bit shy of what the USDA provided. Of course, the MDA crop tour went through there, and they were saying it's a little bit worse off than what they saw last year, but we know last year was a very, very large year in production. So we'll have to see. We'll pay close attention. We'll be writing about it in the morning commentary. And if you have any questions, please give the office a call. Number is 877-472-4607. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you here on Tuesday.